What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Love After Lockup, you guys. This is season four, episode number 8. The episode was titled Deny, Deny, Deny. All right, you guys. So before we jump into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on my channel and are not subscribed to the channel, I'm gonna need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And you guys, with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss Love After Lockup, shall we? All right, you guys, so I can tell you right now that this review, it ain't gonna be that long because this episode really, honestly, it didn't give me that much. There were two couples that gave me some stuff that I wasn't. One of them gave me a big shock. Not really a big shock, but gave me a shock. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Martell and Kayla first, right? So we didn't have much with Martell and Kayla. In this episode, we remember in the last episode, Kayla told us that Martell was getting ready to get out of the halfway house, right? So in this episode, we see Kayla. She's getting ready to go pick up Martell from the halfway house, right? Now she's walking around the crib. She's looking for her phone, and she couldn't find her phone. And then we see her, and she's in the car, right? So she's going to pick up Martell, and this is kind of similar to what happened with Raydean. Remember, her family left her in the cold. She's left Martell in the cold, right? So I think she was like 30 minutes to an hour late picking up Martell from the halfway house, right? So she gets there. Martell is pissed off that she's late to pick him up from the halfway house. She goes to hug him. He's just standing there like this. She's like, "You can put your arms around me." He just like this. I'm like, girl, he is pissed, right? She said, Did you freeze to death? He says, "What do you think?" She touches him. No. I was like, oh my God. But I like Kayla though, you guys. I really do like Kayla. I just think Kayla could do better than Martell. Just me being honest, I think she could do a lot better than Martell, right? So she's driving her car, right? And she asks him, "So what do you want to do?" He says, she said she wanted to go get something to eat, and she says it's breakfast, right? So he says, "Well, I want to go to the strip club." I'm like, damn, this is the second time you said you want to go to the strip club. So then his phone rings, and it's his homie E-Dub, right? So I guess E-Dub is a barber or something like that. So he's telling E-Dub, "Yeah, I'm about to, yeah, we just behind because somebody was late." I was like, well, damn, okay. So he tells her he's finna pull up to the barbershop, and she's like, "Really, Martell?" And what did Martell do? Martell pulled up to the barbershop, right? So he got out the car, and the producer said something to him. He says, "Oh no, she's staying in the car." And she was like, "I don't do what you say." So Kayla got pissed off. She's like, "It's the disrespect shit that I can't deal with." I'm like, yeah, obviously you can, because he disrespected you when he was talking about your house being dirty, and you continues to deal with it, right? So after that, she got in the car and she sped out. They said, she's leaving, and Kayla was gone. And that is all that we got in this episode with Taylor and not Taylor. I was looking at my notes, and Taylor and Chance are next. That's all we got from Martell and Kayla. So let's pause here, and we're gonna move forward. All right, you guys, next up, let's talk about Chaz and Branwyn. Is again, not much with this couple. When I see Chaz and Branwyn together, I really be wondering, like, is she really into this man? Because it just gives me the vibe that she's really not that into him. I just feel like she may have, been in prison for so long, hadn't had any communication with a man, and he may have been the first one she had contact with, and I don't know. I get they're very awkward, number one, and it just doesn't feel like she's into him to me. So Chaz wants to have sex with her, right? She says no because Mike says that he don't want that going down in his crib, right? So then Mike comes into the house, right, and we see Mike. I was like, well, how old is Mike? Because Mike, now we know Chaz, well, not Chaz, but Branwyn, she's 40, right? I'm like, how the fuck old is Mike? Because Mike looked like he in his 60s or 70s. Mike looks old as hell. So, Mike is happy that, she's out of jail, right? And he's happy that she's there, but he doesn't want, so he tells her, like, when it comes to my place, like, I don't want people staying here, and I don't want people in and out, i.e., Chaz. And Chaz was like, you know what, I'm cool with it, right? So then we see Chaz leaving, and he looks so sad and somber. So he goes back over to his hotel room, right? And when he gets to his hotel room, the bed, it has some lingerie on the pillows, right? He got the rose petals sprinkled all over the bed. Then you go in the bathroom. I was like, why is there a just married sign in the bathroom? I was thrown off by the just married sign in the bathroom. That was what threw me off. I was like, over the toilet nonetheless. I was like, this is a little odd and peculiar, but okay. I guess I'll go with it. I was just thrown off by that. So then we see him, and he's talking to his sister later in the episode, right? So he's telling his sister about, the fact that she's out of jail, but she's not with him. Her PO didn't want her to, go anywhere because she's still technically in prison, but she's in the free world for another 4 months, right? I was like, that ain't really being free. But okay, I mean, I guess it's just because she's not behind bars that she got. I wouldn't want that. I would have told him, y'all can leave. I mean, if I got to go through all of this, leave me in jail. Cause I'm not free to do anything. Like my curfew is 6 p.m. What happens? I mean, nothing happens before 6 p.m. Especially, nothing happens, right? So he told his sister what's going on, right? That she's staying with her friend's baby daddy. And she was like, huh? Yeah, girl, it don't make no sense, right? It doesn't sound, it just sounds kind of odd and it's hella odd. So then we see as she's on the phone with her ex, right? And if you listen to the conversation with she and her ex, I'm like, there's still some chemistry. There's still something there between them. But she does say that they are toxic for each other, right? I'm like, oh, poor Chaz. I feel like you'll get your heart broken. Unfortunately, Chaz, I think you're going to get your heart broken, little man. Not trying to be funny, but I just really think that, you're in for a world of pain. But she does say she loves him. She does say she loves him, and I do believe that she loves him. I just don't know if it's like, I don't know if it's a love of, I don't know. I don't know. I believe she loves him, but I feel like it might be like a love of convenience. You know what I'm saying? Leave in the comments if you guys understand what I'm saying. But let's pause here and move forward, you guys. All right, you guys, next up, let's discuss Lacey and Antoine, right? So, you guys, this is continuation of the day that Lacey and Antoine has had, right? So, you remember, they went Top Golf shop. They went, no. This is a continuation of them going car shopping, right? So, now she's taking him to this lookout point, right? And she just wants to spend some time with him. But he's like, no, I don't want to do this. Like, she's like, well, get out the car. You might feel differently. Like, if I get out the car, I'm still going to feel the exact same way that I'm feeling currently, right? And it was in this moment that I was like, you know what? Lacey is the problem. And I'm going to tell you guys why I say Lacey is the problem, right? Since Antoine has gotten out of prison, right? He wants to go see his mother, right? She intervened with that and she feels like he shouldn't go see his mom. So then, she took him to play Top Golf, right? He wasn't comfortable with that. The man just got out of solitary confinement. Then the next day, she took him to go car shopping, right? She knows he got a stimulus check, so you want him to put his money, like you're not asking him what he wants to do. It's what Lacey wants to do. Everything is about Lacey, but she puts it under the disguise that it's what Lacey wants, but it's under the disguise of it's for Antoine. Everything you're doing is not for Antoine. It is for your own personal satisfaction. So let's go back down the list, right? He wants to see his mama. She said no. The Topgolf, that was her idea. The car, that was her idea. This lookout point, it was her idea. Everything has been about Lacey, 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 Lacey. Antoine has had no say in what's going on, right? So now she's upset about the fact that he doesn't want to be at this lookout point, right? She's calling him a dick and that he's been an asshole. No, Lacey, that would be you. Once again, this man just got out of prison. This man was in solitary confinement for a year or two, right? Why not ask him once he got out of jail, what do you want? You're in the free world. You're not in solitary confinement. And even if he wasn't in let's just take away the fact that he was in solitary confinement for 2 years, right? The man was in prison. He ate when these people said eat. He went to sleep when they said go to sleep. He took a shit and piss basically when they said do it, right? He took a shower when they said take a shower. He didn't have any freedom. He didn't have any control. So this is his first few days out of prison. And here you are basically dictating everything he's going to do. But then you say he's been a dick and he's been an asshole, right? Like, it just makes no sense to me, right? It's just pure selfishness, right? So then they get back to the crib and he's pissed off, right? So he went to the room and he has his box, right? So he grabs this letter and he takes it to her and he sits it right next to her. And I'm like, what is that? So what it is so while he was in solitary confinement, Lacey, I guess she felt like maybe, now girl, who in the hell was he gonna talk to while he was in solitary confinement, right? But I guess this is just before he was gonna get out of prison. So she wanted to make sure that, I guess, everything was on the up and up before she brought him into her house, right? You should have thought about that long before you even agreed to him being paroled to your home. You should have told him, you know what? You know, me and you, we are dating. I don't feel comfortable with you coming to my home. So why don't you go stay with your mama, right? You know, when you get out of prison, you know, me and you, we can see each other, right? You can spend the night when you're able to, right? We can go on dates. We can do this. We can do that. You don't necessarily have to move in with me. But no, because Lacey wants to be in control of things, she's having him move in, right? So she pretended to be another woman, right? He says he recognized her handwriting, and then he also had his friends get on Facebook and look up this person, right? Because she was very descriptive about how this person looked, right? But I guess they couldn't find anything. So then she got pissed off at him. I'm like, Lacey, you got caught and you pissed off at him. Please explain to me how that in any world, in any logical thinking person can make that make sense, right? You got caught up. You played a trick on him. He knew it was you. Now you upsetting him. Once again, you still calling him a dick and an asshole. You're the dick and the asshole. I don't like Lacey. I don't like Lacey. I don't like Lacey. I don't like Lacey. It's like, you know, she wants him to be so thankful and so appreciative of things that she's doing for him. But like I just said a few minutes ago, you don't give him any input. It's what you want for him, not what he wants for himself. And it is selfish, right? So then the next morning he goes in a room with her. They're talking. And he asks her, you know, what's the plan for the day, right? So she says, well, I'm going to meet up with my sister. And my sister would like to meet you, right? But he says, you know, well, I have plans to go out with my homie. She got pissed off again, right? Remember, he wants to see his mom. She doesn't feel like his mom is a good influence. But then she says, you know, I know some of his homeboys and homegirls, and they're not good influences for him. Once again, Lacey, this is a grown-ass man. He can do whatever it is that his heart tells him to do, right? You know, I get you saying that his friends and his mother are not good influences, right? But if he puts himself in a situation, he's the only person that he could blame. Like, if he puts himself in a situation, he knows what's at stake, right? He knows that if he fucks up, he goes back to prison. I don't think he wants that, right? So you got to be able to say, you know, I don't, you can voice your opinions and say, you know, I don't feel like you should hang out with such and such, right? Because they might not be a good influence on you, right? But you know what? You're a grown adult. At the end of the day, you can make your own decisions and leave it at that, right? Leave it at that. That ain't your. You're not his mother. You're not the warden. Like, you can't make decisions for this man, and it is frustrating and infuriating to watch this woman. But we're gonna pause here, you guys, and we're gonna move forward. Next up, let's talk about Taylor and Chance. Oh God, I'm just tired of seeing Chance on my screen. So we see Chance. So Chance is meeting up with his friend. I didn't get his friend's name. I don't care about his friend, right? So Chance and his friend are going ring shopping, right? So Chance tells, the woman that he's looking for an engagement ring for his girlfriend, right? Now he tells us he bought her a promise ring for $130. I would have never come on camera and admitted that, right? And then that makes Taylor look bad. Like, you accepted a promise ring? Why? So he's buying her an engagement ring, right? His friend is kind of questioning it, right? Because he doesn't have the best track record when it comes to women, right? So his friend is basically questioning it, right? So he tells the woman, hey, I just got out of prison. I'm like, damn, we just volunteered that information? She's like, how long were you in jail? He said, for 8 years. She was like, well, wow. She was shocked, right? So he has a budget of $550. I think he said $550. I'm going to assume that he means $550. I don't think he meant $5,000. I'm just going to say, I think he meant literally $550, right? So they found a ring. It was $501, but he also wants to buy some promise rings for the girls. Oh, you guys know how I feel about him and them girls. I don't like it. 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 That is all I can say is I don't like it. So then we see him. He gets back to to the crib with Taylor, and she's crying because she's in pain, right? And she's talking about she's having pain over here, and I was like, it sounds like her appendix. It sounds like appendix. He was talking about you could be pregnant. I was like, she could be. So they get her to the hospital, right? So they did a pregnancy test on her. It confirmed she wasn't pregnant, right? But they said her pelvis was inflamed, and they wanted to transport her to another hospital. But before they did that, they finally figured out what the issue was with Taylor. Taylor and him are having rough sex and different positions that have inflamed it. I'm like, I would have been so embarrassed in that moment. I mean, I would have been completely embarrassed. I would have been embarrassed. I would have been embarrassed. All right, guys, so I'm going to pause here and we're going to move forward. Next up, let's talk about that dumbass Indy and Harry. I just don't understand Indy. I really, truly don't understand her. So it's 2 weeks now that Harry has been out of the halfway house. And we see him, he go over to his other sister's house with a blunt in his hand. I'm like, are you not taking a drug test and a pizza? Does your PO not make you take a drug test? Because, nigga, you would fail. So, he tells his sister that, at this point, there's nothing going on between him and Indy after they had their fight, right? So then we see Indy. She's calling up Aniris. I'm like, oh my God, Indy, you really are a dumbass. I just don't understand Indy, right? And I don't mean to be, when I say dumbass, it's not to be, well, yeah, it is disrespectful, but I don't care. Indy just gives delayed thinking, right? I'm not saying, she has a mental issue. I'm just saying her thinking skills are delayed, right? Why are you calling up Aniris, asking Aniris for information? God gave you a brain and God gave you intuition. Why don't you listen to your brain, your gut, and your intuition, right? You do not need to be wasting your money on no damn psychic to tell you the shit that you already know. It is annoying at this point to me, right? So then Harry's PO, he calls him, right? And Harry's PO dug into his ass, right? Asking him, where does he stand at? Okay, well, you got until 6 p.m. to tell me give me an address. If not, I'm going to issue a warrant to arrest your ass. I was like, damn, because Lydia told the PO that Harry hasn't been staying with her, right? So he went over to Lydia's place, right? He's upset because Lydia told the PO that he wasn't there. But Harry, you do know that if the PO showed up, right, and you weren't there, and she covered for you, like, that is she could be that, like, and she has kids, like, that could put her in jeopardy, right? So I don't get Harry. Harry is very selfish, right? So then Indy asks him about this relationship between Terry. He doesn't want to talk about it. They get into a whole argument with each other, right? And like I said, Harry is very selfish. It's all about Harry. Harry, 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 right? And I'm like, are you even thinking about your freedom at all? Because it just gives me the fact that he's not really thinking about his freedom. But it is what it is. So let's pause here, you guys, and wrap the episode up. All right, guys, so let's wrap up with Rick and Raydean, right? Honestly, with Rick and Raydean, I could go without ever having to see them on the screen because I don't know. I just don't see it for Rick and Raydean, right? So he has Raydean meeting him at one of his friends' crib, right? So the friend has a pool and a hot tub, right? So he has a hot tub set up. He got the rose petals. So he gets there. So he asks her, how does her family feel, right, after this last time that they met? She says, you know what? Don't even worry about that. We just need to move forward, right? And in this scene, I kept looking at Raydean's interactions with Rick. I'm like, Raydean is really not into Rick. The more you look at it, she is not interested in this man, even in the slightest bit, right? She is not into this man. And then we see Rick when he was talking to his roommate, Ramona. Ramona is on it, right? Ramona's like, if I just got out of prison and I got my man and we ain't been together, baby, we finna be like cats and dogs, right? I know cats and dogs. Well, you know what I mean, right? So she finds it odd that she's not spending time with him, right? I'm like, that's because she ain't into him. And I don't get how Rick don't fucking see that shit, right? I don't get how Rick don't see that she's not into him. This was the best part of the episode was the end. So Raydean went to like a coffee shop, right? And she calls the prison up, right? And she's calling to get information about her wife. And the producer said, did you say your wife? She said, yeah, I did say my wife. And I wasn't saying it in like a playful way. They says, are you and Raydean married? Are you and Kay married? She says, we are. I was like, what in the hell? I knew it. Like, I knew that she was not into Rick at all. I've been saying it for weeks. I'm like, girl, you are a straight lesbian. But hey, that's the episode, you guys. Please let me know what you thought about the episode. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, share the video, and until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.